All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that, on the surface, makes absolutely no sense. It's a story about building trust on the internet, right from the very foundations. We're calling this one The Digital Architect. So let's just jump right in with a question that sounds like the setup to a really, really weird joke. Ready? What could an AI chatbot, some fancy Manuka honey, and the core security of the internet possibly have in common? I know, it sounds nuts, but it's a real puzzle. And the answer? Oh, it's pretty fascinating. And to start solving that puzzle, we have to look inside this thing called domain GPT. This is where all those completely random sounding pieces actually start to connect. I mean, just look at this. On one side, you've got a raw Manuka honey gold pack, a natural organic product. And on the other, a gasless identity resolver with DNSSEC. That's some seriously heavy-duty tech for verifying identity on the blockchain. And no, that's not a typo. This wild mix of, well, honey and crypto security, that's the whole point. So you've got this whole grab bag of topics, right? DNSSEC, blockchain, Manuka honey certifications, gasless meta-transactions, and it all feeds into the brain of this one AI chatbot, a bot that can literally talk to you about the health benefits of honey and then pivot to the nitty-gritty of blockchain tech. The big question is, why? Why on earth would you build that? Well, to get that, we need to zoom out and look at a huge, kind of invisible problem with the internet as we know it. It all starts with what you could call the internet's missing lock. Seriously. For decades, we've been using this system where it's surprisingly hard to prove with 100% certainty that a website is actually the website it claims to be. The solution that's been in the works for a long time is something called DNSSEC. Okay, so what is DNSSEC? The easiest way to think about it is like a digital, tamper-proof seal on a letter. It's a cryptographic guarantee that when you type in a web address, you're landing on the real site, not some fake one set up to trick you. It's this basic foundational layer of trust, and you'd be shocked how much of the internet just doesn't have it. All right, so let's look at our case study here. The domain is preferido.us. And on June 18th, 2025, this report from VeriSign Labs basically says, nope, no security here. See that? No DS records found. That means the digital seal we were just talking about, it's missing. This is our before snapshot. So how do you fix that? How do you get that seal of approval? Well, it's not a one-click thing. It's a whole process. First, you got to analyze what's wrong. Then you have to propagate changes to its core settings, the name servers. After that, you activate it by generating these digital signature keys. And finally, you have to verify that the rest of the internet can actually see and trust this new lock. And then, check this out. Just 11 days later, boom, success. The same tool, the same domain, but now look, found 2 DS records. Those are the cryptographic signatures. It worked. The domain is now properly signed and secured. The lock is finally in place. And there's this project log entry from that day that I just love for its simplicity. It just says, DNSSEC zone delegation file error is resolved. That's it. Such a quiet, technical little sentence for what is actually a huge step forward in building real, verifiable trust online. But okay, getting this old school domain secured, that's really only half the battle. The really cool part is what happens next. The plan was to use this newfound security as a bridge to the next evolution of the web by linking it directly to a blockchain identity. So on the one hand, you have DNS, the domain name system. We've all used it. It's the internet's phone book, right? It turns a name like google.com into an IP address. Then you have ENS, the Ethereum name service. That's more like a universal username for the Web3 world. It turns a human-readable name into a long crypto wallet address. For the most part, these two systems have lived in totally separate worlds until now. And this right here is the magic link. It looks so simple, right? It's just a little text record added to that domain we just secured. But what it does is monumental. It says, hey, internet, this traditional DNSSEC signed domain officially belongs to this blockchain identity. It creates a rock-solid, verifiable bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. And sure enough, a few days later, on July 5th, another project log. This one's a bit more excited. Success. Your domain is now fully gasless, ENS-enabled, and DNSSEC signed. So all the pieces are connected. The traditional domain is secure, and it's linked to a blockchain identity. Which brings us back to that huge question. Why? Why go to all this trouble? Okay, so we've covered the what. Now it's time for the why. why would anyone build something this intricate? To get that answer, we need to talk about the person behind it all, the architect. That architect is Abhishek Kumar. And when you look at his work, his career, that's when all these pieces that seem totally disconnected, the honey, the AI, the hardcore security protocols, it all suddenly clicks into place. I mean, just look at this career path. It's basically a 2-decade-long quest to solve one problem: trust online. It starts way back in 2004 with enterprise single sign-on, then disaster recovery, infrastructure consolidation, more identity management. It's all about making sure systems are secure and that people are who they say they are. So when you see these latest projects, the gasless identity resolver and domain GPT, you realize they aren't just some random side projects. They're the next logical step in this lifelong obsession. In this whole journey, it wasn't just about ticking off technical boxes. There's a core philosophy driving it. And honestly, this is the final piece of the puzzle that makes the whole thing, honey included, make sense. That philosophy is called progressive disclosure. It's a design principle, but here it's used for trust. The basic idea is simple. Trust isn't something you just give away for free. It has to be earned. So instead of throwing everything at you at once, the system only reveals deeper, more valuable information as you show that you're genuinely interested and engaged. So here's how that actually plays out. At level 1, anyone can see the public stuff, the honey products, the domains. No big deal. But if you want the technical insights, you have to do a little work. You need to look at a few projects. To get to the really advanced stuff, you have to start asking smart follow-up questions. And to get to the proprietary details, you actually have to opt in and give consent. See what's happening? Knowledge isn't just given to you, it's a reward for your own curiosity. It's a system designed to build a real relationship of trust, step by step. So when you put it all together, you realize Domain GPT isn't really about a chatbot. And it's not about Manuka honey. It's an experiment. It's a proof of concept for a different kind of web. A web where identity is something you can actually prove, where knowledge is something you earn, and where trust isn't an afterthought, it's the core architecture. And that's really the final takeaway here. All this work, connecting a domain name through layers of cryptographic proof all the way to a blockchain wallet, it's a massive amount of effort just to verify one single identity. And in our world, an age of deepfakes and rampant digital distrust, it leaves us with a really important question. How far are you willing to go to prove you are who you say you are online?